Wanted to mess at me. There we go. Now we have it. The wonders of technology on occasion. All right, everybody. Now we're here. Now we're with Stu. Thanks, everybody.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. I know they can hear you now, so.
Listen to me now and hear me later.
Oh, what was that from? That was an old SNL skit. No, not SNL.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Hey, there we go. Now everybody's confirming that we have audio. Apologies for that. It was showing me audio, and, of course, it was lying to me. Sounds like my first wife. But that's another story we'll get into at some other point in time. Stu Williams here with me. We were just going over some of the leaders, so we'll start that over again in a second. But we're taking a look here at Chris Vai starting off. 2 PBA Tour professionals on the squad, the other being B.J. Moore. If you're looking, unfortunately, for Bill O'Neill, he had some flight issues this morning. There's been some weather in the Midwest and pushed his flight out. Not going to be here for the bowling, but we'll still get you 2 PBA Tour pros. Stu was talking a little bit about the pattern from yesterday, and your thoughts once again on a solid 9 by Vai. Wow.
That's back-to-back solid 9s. So, like, for me, I bowl quite a bit on house shots. Like, I bowl tournaments all over the place. So, this is obviously a little flatter than a typical house shot, so to speak. There's a little bit less friction to the right, I think, is kind of the way I see it, rather than a little less oil in the middle. There's still plenty of oil in the middle, but it isn't a case of just fling it to the right and it'll like pick up. So I felt like the drier part of the lane broke down a lot quicker than I kind of expected it to. Because when I first started, I was missing the headpin quite a bit in practice, and then I squared up to it, and then they were pretty easy from that moment on. But once the dry started to get dry, once the drier part of the lane really started to break down, then it became a little tricky controlling the over-under. It doesn't really surprise me that, given the way the pattern was and how easy I found it on the fresh, that a lefty's done well. Now, doing well and shooting 16.35 are 2 totally different things. 16.35 is one of the most sick scores I've ever seen. So, shout out to Graham. But if Graham had shot 15.50 or whatever, I don't know that would have been necessarily that newsworthy, because like Graham's fantastic. Graham bowls a lot of the tournaments on the easier stuff also.
Were you leaving? Now, you mentioned back-to-back 9 pins for Chris. I've watched a bunch of the PBA Tour pros come in during the 7-week run of this event. Sometimes it was more 9 pins left by players than 10 pins in a squad.
Yeah, it was very easy to 9 pin because, to me anyway, the key to this pattern and this building in general, because we bowled here for the tour stop also, was getting the ball started early enough. It's very easy here to get the ball kind of a little bit too far down the lane, and then it kind of comes in a little bit more behind the head pin than you want, and then that's when you see the mess and you go in front of the 10 pin or you leave the ring 10 and stuff like that. So everybody's really trying to get the ball started, and while doing that, it's just really easy for the ball to just hook a little bit too much and 9 pin, because in general most of the tour guys aren't going to be able to use the storm balls. They're not going to be able to use like gems and realities and harsh realities and things like that. They're going to have to be like, the step down balls. Like, okay. So they're not going to burn up as much. So they tend to be a little bit more angular. So like yesterday I used the Ion Pro, but I really had to focus on being like kind of more rolling it. If I got too much around it, it was very easy to 9 pin because the ball would skid, and then really hook.
Make that turn.
And get through the 9. Through the rack just a little bit high and a little bit, 9 pins were quite common. But yeah.
We had no changes to the top of the leaderboards on your squad yesterday, but the morning squad, 9 a.m., we had a couple additions. Bug Kroll was in the Open Classic division, as he did not have a good enough 2023 to be ranked in the PBA exempt top 50, but he took advantage of the situation and put himself into second place, 15.05. You still got to throw the ball and throw it well. Mark Blaha still looking at cashing that $25,000 check. Mark, are you watching? Throw it in the chat. Something tells me that you're watching today.
So if Bogard has struck out, then he would have had the that division is 25,000.
25,000 on top.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
But looking at the big picture too, 60,000 on top in the Clash in Portland. So I mean that's a huge chunk of change right there.
For 25,000, I might have come down here with like clappers,
air horns.
Last two squads, I might have got an apartment just around the corner for the last 3 weeks. Just as the guy goes up.
Bring a birthday party here. Yeah, bring a kid's birthday party. Also on that squad, Liz Johnson shot a 15:05, and Liz Johnson was 15:12, so she took over the lead in that division. Gianna Brandolino is in second at 13:96. Only saw a couple of women's Classic Division bowlers today. Those are both going to be tough scores to knock off on the final day. It may happen, you never know. And then the other division that bowls with scratch pins is our Senior Classic. And Bill Froberg out of Michigan. He left thinking 14-14 wasn't going to be enough, and it has been to this point. A couple PBA 50 Tour players made runs. Lyle Kuhlman 14:01, Kirby Allen 13:88, and Charles Farrell 13:80. All a little short.
How many are making it through that division?
Just Froberg right now on the senior side, but they're also taking the high PBA, or I shouldn't say PBA 60, but the high super senior, 60 and older. And right now that would be a repeat for Lenny Boris Jr., as he's the high super senior at 13:57. So that's about 180 pins less than he shot last year, but he still may get the return trip to Bayside for that.
That'd be quite the story given the 12 months he's had.
Yeah, I mean, when he was in Portland last year, he's like, yeah, they're trying to see what's going on, and they just weren't sure on stuff. And then you find out the bad news on how rare that form of cancer for prostate cancer was, and he's fought his way through it, and he led the tournament and Wayne Webb's for the PBA 60, the Tristan Tapps Memorial a couple weeks back. So, yeah, you talk about riding all of life's highs and lows in 12 months. He's definitely done it.
Yeah, tough son of a gun.
And a damn nice son of a gun on top of it, too. Then we have 4 remaining handicap divisions as Vi finds them.
Double 9-pin, 9-pin, triple.
Not too shabby for Vi.
Probably just moved a couple left off the 9-pins.
He's underpacing Graham Foz score, even with that right now. That's just an amazing total thing. You've shot 817 for your first 3, and now you'd have to
do that
again. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Liz Johnson, though, at 825 for her last 3 yesterday to get herself into that top
good
spot.
person to bowl team with.
Yeah. She was on several teams on that squad yesterday.
Yeah. Mitch Hupe also bowled like 816, I think, the last 3 games.
Yeah, there were a couple of hot sets once things settled down for them on that squad. The last 4 divisions are all handicap divisions, so just 1 spot advancing right now. From week 2, Bobby Kunimura, a local player here from the Chicago area, shot 1447 scratch. To go to this handicap, he's at 1567.
Wow.
Women's handicap, it's an achievable total. Kaylin Ranson, 1121 scratch to go with her handicap, totaling 1451. Our boys junior handicap, Garrett Beyer had a 1071 series scratch. Got a bunch of handicap pins to go with it. 1461 for his total. And for the girls handicap division, familiar last name for a lot of bowlers. Hickland is the last name. Chloe the first. That is the daughter of Ron Hickland from Creating the Difference. And proud daddy was to see his daughter shoot 1353 to lead the girls handicap division. And I think that would have to be a lock now because I saw 0 girls handicap division on the roster this morning.
So what score did she shoot handicapped?
She had 969 scratch and then 1353 handicap for the girls.
1353, okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So, and that is, there's only 1 boys handicap bowling this morning with Zach Shanling, and there are no girls handicap bowlers on the roster.
How many ladies scratch are there on the roster?
Let's take a peek.
I don't think there's many because there isn't that many ladies.
No, there's a couple of women handicap bowlers here. 1, 2. Margaret Ventella, she's starting on lane 20. She's bowling with BJ Moore's pair.
Okay, so we can keep track to see how she's doing.
Yep.
Because obviously that will affect that division. So Liz Johnson's a lock for going to Portland.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. There's one more. Wait on the list. Sheila Thornton also starting on lane 18. So we do have 2.
Okay, so Liz isn't quite a lock yet.
Right. But we should probably know by game 4.
Yeah.
If she'll be a lock or not. And it may
to be fair, with 1,500 as her score, we'll probably know by the end of game 2.
Yeah.
So anyway, have you've been here for the entirety of the 7 weeks? Have you started going cross-eyed watching all these lanes?
It's not bad. It's nice. It's a nice mix for me because I do have time where we don't have a PBA Tour player in the booth, so I get to kind of like be a little more social, walk around, talk to players, and see what's going on. So I get my change of perspective once in a while. Not being pinned into the booth really helps me with that, and taking a little, being able to change things up a bit is quite helpful.
Here goes Vi up in the 9th frame. Still got 268 left. That would be a nice start. Get a little bit ahead of the rate to catch Prather.
Now, Chris mentioned yesterday about being here in February with the Illinois Classic.
Well, there you go. That messed that up.
And about, could you use information gleaned on a totally different pattern in the same bowling center? Was there anything that, from when you bowled here in February, you came back to mind when you
I
felt
yesterday? Like that the low end still hooked more, and that's kind of how it was for me when we were here in February. They were a little tighter at the high end. On that particular pattern, I actually found that the lower end was a little easier for me. Chris made the spare though, so still got 245 out. So if he can get the double in the 10th, he's going to have a similar start to what I did. Hopefully for the Chris Vi fans out there, he continues it a little bit better than I did.
I know Mom and Dad are definitely going to be watching. I know they were watching yesterday. And that is one of the great parts about this tournament. You mentioned about if my eyes are being crossed yet or not. It's just everybody that couldn't make it to watch friends and family and stuff. I mean, they can watch every frame, every game, the entire event.
100%. It's very cool.
And some people used it to scout how some lanes were doing, how other lanes weren't doing, watching the pattern, that type of thing. So, it's neat all the different ways that people use the live stream this year, and being able to watch for free courtesy of the PBA helps the cause as well.
100%. Yeah, YouTube's a little bit of a pain sometimes finding all of the live broadcasts. So if you're actually looking for them, if you go on the PBA's YouTube page, there'll be a tab that'll say like videos or popular or whatever, and then there'll be a tab that says live. And if you click the live tab, that's where you'll find all of those videos. They won't necessarily get pushed into your feed after the fact.
Yeah. So first ball of the 10th for Vi. Ooh, I think he was looking, don't 9-pin on me, damn it.
Yeah. Let's quickly have a spin over, see what BJ Moore's score is, just quickly. 24.
There we go.
So BJ is having a bit of a disaster.
Ooh.
Best case scenario for BJ is 200 even.
Yeah.
Not what he was looking for.
No. That's a long way to come back. But if you look at second place with
if we're going to start talking about it, maybe AJ Johnson's in danger of not coming last.
That's valid too.
AJ Johnson currently in trophy boy position with 1247. I told BJ before he started that after he'd bowled, he'd find it pretty obvious as to why that was a bad score. Maybe I overestimated it. So Vi got in the 240s, so not the end of the world for sure. Not the end of the world. 245. Looks like he's going for a ball change. I think he was using an Ion Pro. See what he's changing to here. I would imagine he's going to change to something a little stronger because he's moving left. Is that an attention star, maybe?
He said he had one in the bag that he was looking. He thought maybe it was be a little later in the block before he got to use that ball, and apparently that's maybe he's changed his mind or just trying to get a read for after another game or two's out there.
I think he's just trying to see what was out there.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing about bowling balls and where people see them, and like, you know, different guys see balls in different spots in their bags and stuff. So it's why sometimes when you're watching like ball reviews and stuff, if you find yourself, you're actually better looking back on old ball reviews, and if a guy says nice things about the balls that you like, maybe he's the guy you should try to focus on.
Yep.
So, like, if you like a lot of the balls that I've been really positive about, then maybe I'm your guy. So if I'm like, meh, this ball's okay, maybe not the one for you. Whereas if, like, you know, say Darren, every time Darren really likes a ball, they're different balls from the ones that I really like. So maybe you're better watching Darren's videos than my videos, or you know, Chris does some videos. You know, there's a lot of guys out there doing videos. So it's just trying to find the guys who see the balls similarly to how you see them. That's the key, because everybody bowls slightly differently, and everybody, you know, has a different want and need from what they see the ball do.
Yeah, well, we'll take a little break here because we got to wait for everybody to change lanes and that. We'll have Stu back in the booth game 2. Nice to see the questions piling up in the chat. We'll start throwing a few of those at Stu. And this is the last squad of the 2024 PBA LBC National Championships. Thanks for joining us here from Bolero Mount Prospect. And we are back. Valero Mount Prospect, game 2 of this final squad will be underway on 31-32, just finishing the opening game. Well, 31-32 is in game 2, 33-34 is just finishing game 1.
Yeah. I was about to say, that's not BJ Moore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's one pair to the right yet, so they're just going to be getting underway momentarily, so we'll flip over. But it's always neat to see the different styles, and it's kind of funny, and sometimes we say that everybody looks at that second triangle, and, you know, that's the targeting system for a lot of bowlers. That's the only target they know, but that seemed to be for bowlers at lower rev rates, they could play there for quite a while. We watched Liz Johnson yesterday kind of play in the track area and doing, especially once it opened up, and playing quite well. And obviously Liz not of the 500 rev rate as a player.
Yeah, I mean, Liz bowled a great squad, yeah, for sure.
Here we go with BJ Moore. Yikes, finished with 189. So
yeah, it's not great. It's going to take a. It's going to take 1340. What happens if they tie?
If I remember correctly, it is the high game of the block breaks the tie.
Okay.
So.
Be quite funny if they made Prather come back for roll-off.
Would it be like in Detroit when he was on the Shark and he was already halfway back to Chicago? No, he wasn't quite that far, but he was a ways away when he found out that he was in that roll-off and had to double back, got his way through it. And there's a great piece on PBA Social right now. I think everybody that I've been watching, they had the Shark versus Shark on Shark from the World Series of Bowling. It was Chris Prather and A.J. Johnson bowling each other in the round of 16, and we wired them up for sound. Nolan Hughes did some quality editing on that piece, and it's pretty neat to get inside the self-talk bowlers have while they're on the lanes.
Yeah, I'm sure he edited a bit of the fun stuff out of that, though. Things got a little chirpy there for a little while with the foul, no foul.
Yeah, there's some. There's the official PBA piece, and if you search other social media accounts, there's the unofficial excerpts from that. I'm not giving away where they are, but you know, if you know Nolan Hughes, you might be able to find him. So BJ Moore trying to turn around with a double here. We got a couple of questions for you, Stu.
Okay.
The first one says, "Why, if spare balls are made not to hook, why do people amp up their speed to shoot single pins?"
Frustration?
Could be.
No, I think that when you hook the ball, you have a different motion than when you throw it straight. So when you throw it straight, your arm is coming straight through. Like, there's no, like, you're not trying to slow down to, like, unload your wrist. Your hand is very flat if you're throwing it, like, you know, straight. So that's part of it. That's why, you know, you don't have that natural slowdown process in your downswing. Yeah. Whereas obviously, you know, when you like uncup the wrist, there's going to be that slowdown.
Yeah, it's an angular change in your arm swing.
Well, you don't have that, so then it's going to go through faster. And then on top of that, like, guys want the ball to go straight. So some of the guys who still add a little bit of rotation throw it a little harder so that it doesn't really change direction.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's throwing at Oscu speed anymore on tour, I think.
Kevin McCune.
Oh, but yeah, that's true.
I do feel like, though, that overthrowing at spares is an easy way to miss some. So, next.
Let's see. Stu, what are your thoughts on two-handed bowling? Hey, well, we got 5 more games, so.
I mean, it seems like it's the, well, it doesn't seem like it is the most efficient way to create power. I also think that it is, oh, wow, BJ hasn't been bowling that much. That one wasn't very good. Yeah.
He's even shaking his head at himself on the way back.
I think it's just it's just the most efficient way, and the learning curve or the improvement curve for two-handing is so much quicker than one-handed bowling. just because there's less moving parts. Your swing's more compact. So if you're able to do it, then I think it's easier to get good results. I don't necessarily think that actually bowling two-handed, the motion to be able to do it is easier. I think once you can do it, I think that it's easier to get better, quicker. So.
Yeah, right. Somebody was asking, thought this was the PBA. Well, it is the PBA LBC National Championships. This is an event that's open to all bowlers, whether they are on the PBA Tour or whether they enjoy a once-a-month bowling league and have an established average. They can come here, bowl in a not quite PBA Tour condition, but definitely not something they probably see in their house shots, and have their chance to shoot up for a lot of money. There's a lot. I mean, the $100,000 that these 12 players that make it out of Mount Prospect and go to Portland for at Bayside Bowl, that $100,000, that's added money. That's pure added money. There's nothing coming out of the tournament prize fund from here in Mount Prospect that goes for $100,000. I mean, how many other tournaments do you know of that add $100,000 to them that you can bowl as an amateur? I don't know of any. I've seen $10,000 added tournaments. You have a big sponsor in Texas with Platinum Ford that adds a lot of stuff to some of your tournaments.
Yeah, but they tend to add to a lot to the bowling community just in general.
Yeah.
So they are great supporters of the of bowling in Texas. I was actually using their spare ball yesterday. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just like they do a lot of cool things with the bowling community. Be it supporting leagues, supporting tournaments, supporting the Beef and Barnsley show. Like there are a lot of things that they do to give back, and it's an awesome partnership between Texas bowlers and Ford. I mean, you see so many Platinum Ford badges around bowling centers now, even down in Austin, because people, if you want to take a test drive, if you've got a USB-C card, you just go and you show them your USB-C card and you take a test drive and they'll give you a bowling ball.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, Adam and his team up there, right now, I think if you end up buying a car, they give you all 3 balls that they have. They give you a bag that says Platinum Ford on it and a jersey.
Oh, nice.
If you end up purchasing a new vehicle. So, yeah, it's been a really cool. Like I say, it's a really cool partnership between a dealership and a bowling and then the bowling community as a whole.
Right.
And it was basically they decided to stop doing email blasts and do bowling balls instead. Yeah. And he said, you know what? Let's try this. So they partnered up with Storm and they put the Platinum Ford logos on bowling balls. So I think right now it's like Magic Gems, and then they have their limited edition spare ball with the tire. And it's very. It's
really awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's fun deal. I'm just watching Vi and BJ, and I think that Prather's safe.
Yeah, we'll take a next time. Chris Vi is on the approach.
Vi's I can see Vi from here. Okay. So he had a double, then he 4-6, then he 3-6, and he missed it to the left. Ooh. He only just clipped the 3-pin, and then he struck. So he's 65 in the 4th this game. Okay. And of course BJ's about about 28 over through 14 frames. Yeah. So, and then Vi right now is 30 over through 14 frames. So they got a lot. They've got 300 over to find in the last 46 frames. So that's some going.
That would be fought-like in that case.
Yeah.
So. Well, that's really cool to know about Platinum Ford and the support they give the whole bowling community. That, I mean, is that something that you guys met with that dealership, or they found you guys, or for the initial sponsorship on Beef and Barnsley?
No, well, they were already doing their thing,
oh, okay.
And then Adam was bowling one of the tournaments, and mine and Adam's personalities. Adam Vinci, he is the lead over there. Yeah. Are quite similar. So we bowled the Ironman tournament together, and Adam offered $100 wages that he'd be like less than I don't know, 500 under or something. And it was basically a $300 bill because there was no chance that he was going to. So this bet has continued on. And I was bowling with Adam. And I was charting how many frames it was before he went another 100 under, because this tournament is like impossible. Like the patterns are basically flat.
Yeah.
I think one year I led by like 100 and I averaged like 216.
Oh wow.
Like they're very difficult. So Adam bowled like 96 in one game. So I was like, well, there goes another 100. but he's improved a lot over the time. And to put in perspective, I mean, Adam's left-handed and he averages over 200 in the leagues he bowls. Like he averages 215 in the leagues he bowls. But bowling that tournament's just.
Oh wow.
So we had a pretty good time, busting each other's balls, like having some fun with it. And then we presented him a package for sponsoring the show, and he was like all about it. And we've had a really good relationship. I bought a truck down there also. They did me a really good deal. So I don't know if you ever remember. I was driving around in their they had their Platinum Ford truck.
Yeah, the wrap on it. Yeah.
Yeah, the clown car, as it was called. It was this like raised F-150. Like the tires were like,
monster truckish.
1,000 pounds of tire. Or something.
Jeez.
Like the car was like, it was ridiculous. The car like did like 12 to the gallon. Every time I put my foot down, trees died. So
wow.
It was definitely a statement piece. I almost had to fill up on the way up to Dallas because it was taking so much gas. So
Instead of MPG on the bumper, it says GPM, gallons per mile.
Yeah,
how many gallons per mile.
100%.
The sticker. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Stu, who's your go-to doubles partner? I would think your wife, but I mean that's just for some tournaments.
I mean, it depends. I bowl quite a bit with Frankie. So I bowl a few times with Frankie. Yeah. I've got quite a few people who I've got like pretty good records with over time. Like me and Dom have always done pretty well when we bowl together, but he's bowled with Simo, so it's I mean, no matter what planet I live on, that's a little difficult to compete with. So I bowled a few things with Dom. We were pretty successful in the Weber Cup. Me and Frankie bowl the doubles. It might be the worst pattern ever for me and Frankie every year because they always make the lanes really easy, and me and Frankie do very well when the lanes are very difficult.
Yeah.
So that's not. But we've won a couple of other tournaments together. The Snowman.
Oh yeah, the Snowman at Shawnee at Fire Lake.
Another person who sponsors us, Chris Skillins, big friend of the PBA.
Yep.
The home of the Southwest Region Hall of Fame. The masking units have all the Hall of Famers in the Southwest region, so that's really cool. And then obviously my wife, who, shout out to her.
Yeah, please do.
300 at Nationals last week. Well, Tuesday, in fact. She became the first lady to shoot 300 at Open Nationals and Women's Nationals.
Yeah, that's
so that
really
was very
awesome.
Cool. Kind of unbelievable, really, because the ladies Nationals tends to be quite a bit softer. So you would think that most of the great players would have shot 300 at the ladies tournament, but like Shannon O'Keefe, Wendy McPherson, and Shannon Plowowski have all shot 300 at Open Nationals, but not at Women's Nationals.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. She had a great time, and of course, we became the first husband and wife to both shoot 300, I believe, at Nationals.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian O'Keefe might have done one, but that's what they told us. So it was definitely the first husband and wife the same year. So that was pretty cool, especially as she went with no thoughts of bowling.
Really?
She took her balls because one of our really big group of friends from Phoenix were all bowling. So she took her balls in case somebody from them wasn't able to bowl. Yeah. And then she got on a team just as she was about to bowl a bowler's journal squad with just totally random team. So then she had to haul ass all the way over to the from the bowling center to the stadium to bowl team. And then she didn't have any singles and doubles. And then at the I guess she ended up she actually had a day off in between team and singles and doubles.
Okay.
And she picked up on the same squad that all our friends were bowling with totally a random guy. It turns out he was friends with Patrick Allen and Steve Pavlenko.
Oh.
He was there also, just happened to take a couple of balls with him in case somebody got hurt in his group. He was just there to drink too.
Yeah.
So him and Tina bowled together, and I think they were saying it was the first time he'd ever cashed in nationals because he actually bowled over 600. So they had a pretty competitive doubles total.
Yeah.
But Tina bowled 300 for 750 in doubles. She bowled 720 in singles clean.
Yeah.
So it turned out to be a
set.
pretty nice. A pretty nice decision for Tina to jump on a set. A bunch of people have given me a hard time about her not bowling that many brackets. Tina hadn't really bowled that well in nationals many times before, so it wasn't like we were going to put $1,000 down in brackets.
Right.
So, but very cool. Shout out to her. It's always fun making history. And she will always be the first person who did it.
So you weren't bowling at the same time she shot the 300?
No. Well,
Okay.
I actually was bowling league while she was shooting 300.
Okay.
So I actually laughed because in the league night, I'd started the game with the double when she bowled 300, and then I actually bowled 300 as well.
Oh, wow.
At that moment. So I was laughing with the guys because obviously the bowling center was a buzz with Tina bowling this 300.
Yeah.
Like, they announced her in the bowling center and whatever. So we were like, everybody was cheering bowling our sport league, and then I bowled 300, and I was laughing with the guys and the ladies I was bowling with. And I said, I had to put her back in her place. Reminder who the bowler is in this family. So it was a fun time. Yeah, I mean, she was so happy when she came home. So
has Brady been interested in
No,
sport?
not really.
Okay.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Maybe though. He's more interested in like the games and the flashing lights
Yeah.
in the bowling center than the bowling.
How old is he now?
7.
7. Yeah. Hey, you had a 7-year-old bowling or 8-year-old just turned 8 bowling on your pier yesterday. Him and his dad were both really fired up about being able to bowl with you.
I was a little worried for him because in practice he was bowling two-handed. He couldn't keep the ball on the lane. And I'm like, this kid isn't going to shoot 200 set. he was throwing it so slow and he couldn't keep it on the lane.
And if he kept it on the lane, the ball got to like 52 feet and it just went 90 degrees.
It almost like brushed the head pin and got 1. And I'm like, what are they doing? And then first shot, he puts his wrist support on and starts bowling normal. And I was just like, looking at his dad, I was like, what? And he goes, oh, that's how he warms up. And I'm like, yeah, but he doesn't need to warm up for the whole 10 minutes like that. So we had a fun time. He was always ready to have his turn, that was for sure. So, and he ended up bowling a pretty good score. I think he was in 6th or 7th.
5th. He's in 5th in the boys handicap. Yeah, Jackson Pfeiffer. So yeah, it was pretty cool. But it's fun watching people. It was fun watching it this morning with Chris and BJ when the people walk in and they see the names on the scoreboard and they go, wow, this is really cool. So and it doesn't matter if it's a young man like Jackson or if it's a senior player that walks in and they go, wow, this is my chance to bowl with or right next door to a Chris Fye or a Stu Williams. And that's one thing about the Players Committee input into the tournament where guys said after last year, don't put us all in one squad. Let's bowl with everybody. Let's spread it out.
We were trying to get it so that there was more interest. More of a feedback between the competitors and the players, the PBA players.
Yeah.
But also, I think it helped to get more entries because you were way more likely to enter. Oh shit, I'm on the same squad as that guy. Oh
right.
yeah, I'll go and put an entry in.
Yeah.
So I think that's helped a lot for that part of it. I think there's a lot more entries on the side for those other tournaments. Just a quick update. Vi somewhat rescued it with a 4-bagger, but he just 4-pinned.
Yeah,
so he can still shoot 224. So yeah, not critical now. If he can get a double in the 10th and then maybe pop off at 270 the next game, it's kind of back sort of in the realms of striking distance.
Yeah.
BJ Moore fans really need a double here in the 10th to get in the 250s. 230 probably isn't really going to help very much.
Let's be honest, BJ's here just so he gets one good night of sleep. With as busy as he is back home between the family restaurant and the kids. And
he's not staying.
Oh, he's flying out right away.
He flew in this morning.
He's flying out right away. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I saw for Falbo's restaurant and stuff that they've been really busy and all the specials, and so yeah, it's
oh boy.
you guys, yeah, it's amazing. We're some people that might not know what happens with the tour because it's such a short season. You guys are all real busy the other 9 months, whether it's with a pro shop like Chris Vi or whether it's with a restaurant, like BJ Moore. So everybody's got their other interests outside of when they spend their 3 or 4 months on tour.
I mean, ideally, we'd like the tour to be like, sort of like 6 or 8 months. And we're only finding things to do for the extra, 4 or 6 months rather than, us finding stuff to do for the majority of the time. But,
right.
Kind of is what it is.
Well, here's a question for you. Do you think now with the tour going back to the, let's say, full exempt field, there might be a
Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, there might be a couple spots every week in the PTQ, that type of thing. Do you think it could help grow the PBA regional program for younger players coming up? Or
to be honest, I don't. That's not really like we need to grow the main tour.
Main tour, okay.
The main tour is really like it's not as big as anybody would like it. It's not as big as Tom would like it. It's probably not as big as Bolero would like it. Like that's where the real growth comes from. Because I think that if you have a product that everybody's like dying to be involved in, like they see it as a pathway to being able to make a great living.
Okay.
I think that then you'll get, like all of the tournaments this year, like almost all of the PTQs sold out. Like we had hundreds of people bowling PTQs.
Yeah.
Like for the season, so it wasn't like we're not struggling to find entries.
Yeah.
We just don't have necessarily as many tournaments as we'd like.
And it's never really been the goal of the PBA Tour. If you're basing a professional sport on how many entries you get, it's not being done right.
No, but I don't mean it like that. I mean, like, we don't necessarily need to grow the regionals. Like, in our region, in the Southwest, I mean, we sell out almost every region. Yeah. So, I think that it's more a case of, like, having something that allows more people to, commit their life to being, bowling. Yeah. That's what would be cool.
All right, we're going to take another little audio intermission. We'll have Stu for at least one more game. And, if not 2 games. So, get those questions loaded up in the chat for Stu, and we'll keep following our big names. And remember, you can follow everybody on the PBA YouTube channel. Every pair in play streamed live with the ambient audio all through the rest of the squad today, as this is the final squad of the 2024 PBA LBC National Championships.
Do this one.
And game 3 underway. Valero Mount Prospect, final squad of this PBA LBC National Championships 2024 edition. Hopefully sooner than later they'll announce the location of the 2025. I'd be happy to have it back here in Chicago, nice and centrally located in the U.S. Get it into town, out of town, relatively easy. Well, except for the damn traffic, but that's always going to happen in any big city you go to.
I was about to say centrally located is a, it's not that central for the West Coast.
Well, that's true. Is anything central for West Coast people? Central for West Coast people have to be like Kansas City.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Which wouldn't be bad either. Good barbecue. Not as good as Texas barbecue, but still good barbecue.
I'm not a barbecue guy, so.
No? Okay.
No. We got any more questions there, Philip?
Oh, let's take a peek here. Got to be a few stacking up, I would think. What is your current favorite bowling ball?
DNA Coil, I think. Absolute Power is pretty good. This new Ion Pro. Yeah, I've got a few I quite like at the minute. But I think probably DNA Coil is the one I do most of the damage with at the minute.
Oh, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Chris yesterday. Now, PBA Tour, you're limited to the 2-year window right now. So now it's going to change, obviously, next year, August. It'll probably be August 1st, 2023, or it's still going to be 22?
Yeah.
It'll still be 22.
It was only that. It's only August 2022 because that's when they changed the specifications for hardness.
That's when they went to 73 for all bowling balls. And then the Tour is 78 for the urethanes. So what would be a pre-clearance ball then that you would love to see remanufactured again? Chris had a couple. I can't remember what they were, but he had a couple he'd like to see come back.
I mean, the problem is most of the bowling balls that you remember, you only remember them because that's how they were in those conditions. And, of course, the conditions are always constantly changing.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, you always end up theoretically, oh, my God, that ball would be amazing. Then you actually find one and you drill it, and it's like, it's just not the way you remember it. So, I mean, for me, I really like the Crossroad made by Storm. Hypercell, the solid one, that one was really good. I've kind of got that back a little bit with the Excel.
Okay.
The Hypercell was a little stronger relatively. It probably wouldn't be now, but like, so yeah, they were two that I could think of that would be pretty good for me. But like I say, I've kind of quit. I've quit thinking about that because a lot of the time, like for example, the cover on the DNA coil was on a ball I didn't really like. Very similar cover. And I didn't really like the original DNA. They put them together, and now it's one of my favorite balls. So I've quit kind of thinking that I know anything about what I'm talking about when it comes to, like, you know, which cores would do well with which, you know. It's just, I bowl and they build bowling balls, and to quote Mike Tomlin, I'm comfortable with that division of labor. Mike Tomlin said that in a press conference about one of the, I think it was Chase Claypool, and Chase was complaining to the media about he didn't like that there wasn't music playing, and he didn't like the training that they were doing, like the workout, whatever. Yeah. And they asked Mike Tomlin about it, and he says, Chase plays wide receiver and I coach, and I'm comfortable with that division of labor. Such a great quote.
Line. That's a beautiful line.
In other words, Claypool, shut the hell up.
Oh, man, that's beautiful. Try using that at home sometime and see how it works for you, though. God. Good Lord.
Good night.
Bob's got a question. With every new ball that comes out, what's the main difference between the new ball and one that might be a year old? Is it cover stock, core, ball? I mean, how much farther can they go with cover stocks and cores?
This is also a little bit like the lane is 60 feet long and it's 3 feet wide. So the differences you're going to see is how early, like how the point at the lane front to back that it picks up.
Okay.
And like how responsive it is to pick up in that part of the lane, because they can't really, like, they're limited by how much you can hook, like side to side. Because, like, realistically, it can hook like 9 or 10 inches.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, 10th board to 17th board is 7 inches.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you went from, like, realistically 16 to, like, well, you wouldn't want to get it to, like, 1.
Right.
Because then you couldn't miss right. So, like, say 5, that's 12 inches. So the ball can hook a foot left to right. So, obviously, at some point, you're going to kind of run out of, like, space to do that. Yeah. So it's just more like how forgiving it is with speed, and, like, that's kind of how it is. For me, I think that there are certain balls that I think that being on the edge of technology makes a lot of sense. Like, I think the strongest ball in your bag, I think, makes sense to have the newest technology, because that's always going to be, you know, the strongest that can be made. But, like, once that, if you feel like that's starting to lose a little bit of performance, you can start, you know, adding polish to those balls, moving them down your bag a little bit, and then the new ball you get's the next strong ball. Okay. Type of deal. So I think there's a few different ways around it, and, like, sometimes you can get some pretty good deals on the closeouts. Oh, BJ. He is looking like a tortured soul today. Yes. I know the feeling. I didn't bowl in June, and my July 4th weekend bowling was torturous. I missed the cut in the regional. I just really struggled. Pretty much like BJ, I'd have like 5 in a row, and then I'd just airmail one out the window, and yeah, tough times.
How long does it take you to get back into, you know, tour bowling? I don't want to say shape, obviously, because you guys are all ready for the 40-game grind on the majors and stuff pretty much at the time. But the mental adjustments and such.
It's not really the mental for me. It's more the just being able to repeat the same shots and like get the feel back. And the key, I think another key for me is knowing what a good, being able to feel what a good shot is and when it's a bad shot.
Okay.
Because the problem is you can get yourself in so many issues if you can't feel when it's not a good shot. Because you feel like you threw a good shot and you get a bad result. Well, then you make a move off that bad result.
And it gets worse.
Yeah,
It could get worse,
because you're basically dealing with fake data. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, you could end up moving yourself into the exact opposite of what you need to do, and then you're totally screwed.
Yeah, you can't lie. Like moving pairs, you can't lie to yourself if you made a good shot or a bad shot moving pairs because you're going to give yourself false data.
But it's not even like you're lying to yourself. It's
Okay.
just you don't feel the difference. So then when you see it like scoop past it for 210, it's mainly because you're a little out of time and you just get on the side of it a little too early or whatever, or you rotate your shoulder forward.
Yeah.
But if you're not like really sharp and not feeling those things, it's hard to start with because immediately, I think everybody would rather blame the lane than themselves.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the ball reps have a fun way of looking at it, Phil. They said when they rep on the men's tour, the men never throw a bad shot. When they rep on the women's tour, the women never throw a good shot. Now that sounds like they're being critical, and they go, it's absolutely not the case. It's just the ladies will always come back and say, man, I just didn't throw that one very good. And the guys will always come back and be like, wow. And it's like, and like talking to a few of them, it's just like the guy threw it totally out the window. What am I supposed to tell him? Like it was 100% on him.
Yeah.
It wasn't the ball. And like the ladies, they're always fighting, trying to get the ladies to change ball because they always think, oh, I could throw a better shot than that. And it's like, so when they say it, they have to like really explain it because people get like super like, well, the women don't throw bad shots.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just like, he goes, no, it's just the mentality that the ladies have to the guys. The guys never throw a bad shot and the girls never throw a good shot. And it's just their total mentality, like walking back. So it's kind of funny because, I mean, even talking to my wife, she's just like, I just can't change. I just didn't think that was a good shot. And it's like, yeah, but the reason why it feels like it's not a good shot is because it's totally the wrong ball.
Yeah.
Because you're getting the right ball and
everything feels like butter.
It feels so much better.
Keep those questions rolling in the chat. Our leader in the Open Class division right now, Mark Blas, says, you want to say you had an awesome USBC Open. You knocked Mark down a spot or two there. Great bowling. What was the reason for the success at the US Open? USBC Open, pardon me, the USBC National Championships.
I didn't bowl great in team, and then I got a really good pair for singles and doubles, and like the group I bowled with, they were kind of straighter guys, and I kind of had the lane to myself, and yeah, I mean, I just got comfortable, and like, yeah, it was kind of crazy. I mean, I shot, I was only about 40 short of Graham Farr, and the lanes there were much flatter than the lanes here.
Yeah.
It was just one of those days you just almost, you're like, you're just almost unconscious.
Yeah.
I bowled 1580 and I didn't have a double the last 6 frames.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I think I bowled something like, 240, 250, 260, 280, 288, 300, front 3. And then I basically went spare strike all the way out. So, yeah, it was, it sucks because I'm going to, right now I'm like 10 or 11 pins behind Brad Miller in singles. When I left, I was 1 pin behind. And I'm 11 pins behind for all events.
Okay.
So, kind of sucks not having a double all those frames late on.
Right, one double in there, and it could be 2 eagles for you.
Yeah. Basically, one of those 7 pins that I left was 20 pins, and I'd be leading singles and all events. So, yeah, what do they say? If ifs and buts for China Cups.
Or candy and nuts would be Christmas every day. Yeah. So
I have a different one about uncles and aunties, but we'll leave that for another day.
Keep those questions coming, ladies and gentlemen. Well, here's a question for them, because obviously it's a different atmosphere between the USBC Open Championships and here at the LBC National Championships. And one of the things is, the pattern you're getting in here, so it makes it a little easier for ball selection. How tough is it to decide what you wanted to bring to Las Vegas this year, or did you drill something up while you were there?
I didn't. In a weird way, Nationals is almost easier to pick the balls that you want to take because you know you need to take like a range. Mm-hmm. For this, I was very torn because I was bringing 6 balls, but I knew that the lanes were pretty easy, and I kind of had an idea of where I needed to be ball-wise, and right at the last minute, I got a little spooked because a few guys had said the lanes were dry, so I brought a weaker balls that I probably wouldn't have normally brought for something like this, and it was totally a waste of time. Yeah. So, in a little way, this was actually a little more tricky because at Nationals, because it's a little harder, the balls actually matter a little less because you're not trying to get every single hit. Whereas here, when you need to shoot 15-30, you kind of know you need the perfect ball. Yeah. Because you need everything to go your way. So there's a little more pressure on getting the right balls. I think that the pattern thing, I think it's great that the PBA have the pattern open, with this tournament. I think it's cool that people can come here if they want to and have a practice. I think that's a cool scenario. I also think that bowling ended up, when we started naming patterns, it was like the greatest thing ever for Kegel. Because now everybody's like, oh, I've got a bowl on this pattern, and if I put this pattern down at the bowling center I bowl in, it would be nothing like it is here. So that's the USBC's argument. Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter because it's not going to be the same. Yeah. My argument to that is when the USBC used to release the pattern, people who would never practice would go into the bowling center and pay for lanes. Mm-hmm. So it was a good thing for the bowling centers because if they would put out the Nationals pattern and all the centers in Phoenix back when they were Brunswick and AMF and private centers, they'd all have at least a couple of pairs every day that they'd oil with the Nationals patterns. Because people would come in and say, hey, have you got the Nationals pattern out? And they'd be like, yeah. And people would go around around town and they bowl in 2 or 3 different places to see what it was like.
Yeah, meld it all together and kind
of... but they got better, not because they were bowling on the Nationals pattern, but because they were actually going out and bowling. So I like that better. I think that it now, bowling early, you end up being at quite a bit of a disadvantage because people always end up seeing because they're always going to post something, video-wise, or someone said, "Oh, I use this," or "I did this," or it's just natural. So, looks like BJ straightened up a little bit. I like that a little better. I think he was making the lanes a little more crisp. Chris Vi actually has a pretty good game running. Yeah,
we'll get back over to Chris here on screen once BJ finishes his 10th.
But I think Chris has. Does he have 270 running?
Let's see. Let's take a look.
He missed one, so he's got 258 running. Yeah. So he could get to 726 if he was to strike out. You'd need 8-0, the back 3 then.
Wow, that's got some backhand kick there for BJ Moore.
BJ is up to 646. So if you bowl doubles with BJ, you're probably screwed. His friends at home are probably, because I guess he's good buddies with Tim Pfeiffer. Yeah. Shout out to Tim. Him and his team, Higgy's Aquarium, are leading the team all events.
Yeah, he had a nice showing here. Tim had 1468, and that was with a kind of bad last game. I think he was 2-0 the last game.
So yeah.
A couple times he had the front 8. He had a 299 game.
Oh, nice.
Kick things off when he was here. So yeah. Hey, so he's his personality. It's just so much fun to just watch him kind of self-abuse himself on occasion after a bad shot. David Kroll, 3-game sweat. He says in the chat right now. It's not kidding. The only person I saw at 500 after 2, he was on the pair next to BJ Moore after Chris Vi's shot. We'll check in on Dale Horstman. He had 5-0 after 2, but he's not having a good game this game. So that sweat may get a little easier for you, Boog.
Where is he?
Down on 31-32. We'll get back to him in a second. Dale's not up yet. He's going to be bowling his 10th frame momentarily.
Okay.
There's Vi. And
Oh,
there's,
that was a 210, was it?
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, 2-4-10.
And then coming in left side there, you see two-hander. And first ball of the 10th.
He still gets a 206.
Yeah, so he's going to need baby 8 to get past
Yeah.
Boog.
He's going to need a lot.
So Boog will keep sweating. We'll keep chatting. We're going to end up the coverage here in Game 3. Stu's with us for the run. And we'll have Game 4 of this final squad of the 2024 PBA LBC National Championships coming up after a short audio intermission. And game 4 underway here at the PBA LBC National Championships. The final squad of the 2024 edition rolling right now. 3 games remaining, this one and 2 additional, before we preliminarily crown our 12 bowlers advancing to the LBC National Championships Clash, which will be taping at Bayside Bowl in Portland, Maine, and airing on September 24th on FS1. So get ready to get that on your schedule. I'm $2 Phil Bradlow, bringing it through the afternoon. Thanks to everybody that's watched the entire run. Myself and my production company, 10 on the Deck Productions, glad to team up with the PBA to bring you the ability to, you could have watched every shot on every lane, on every game, on every squad for all 7 weekends of this LBC National Championships. And I want to thank the production assistants that helped out over that 7-week run, one of them being my lovely wife, Carrie, and another being Rogue Fapi. Rogue runs the pro shop up at Bowlers Mart in Deer Park, about 20 minutes northwest of where we are at in Brunswick Mount Prospect. So if you're in the Chicagoland area and are looking for somebody to take a new look at your equipment, her and her crew at the Bowlers Mart in Deer Park can take care of that for you. So I want to thank Rogue for the couple of weekends she helped out as well. The tournament staff's been great all this time. Weekend in and a weekend out. Zach, our tournament director, Janae, Renee, Trista, Mike, Curtis. Yeah, it's been a great run. Glad to be a part of it for year 2, and looking forward to the 3rd edition of this PBA LBC National Championships next year. May take place, I'm hoping, back here. Bolero Mount Prospect, great center for it. I mean, it's a perfect size. We get 64 bowlers in on a full squad. Not too many, not too few, as we're a full house today, almost for this final squad. Machines have been running like clockwork. And once again, this PBA LBC pattern has been challenging, but you get that right combination of your accuracy and the right piece of equipment in your hand, and you can put up some good numbers. As we do officially have a unofficial category champion right now, Chloe Hickland, pending average verifications for all competitors, of course, in our handicap divisions. Chloe Hickland will be your champion in the girls handicap division, and she'll be advancing to the PBA LBC National Championship Clash in Portland. And it's such a great format for bowlers of all abilities because it's one ball at a time. Remember Belinda Maple last year, our women's handicap champion in 2023? She got through the first 3 rounds with a couple of strikes and a 9 count. She put it together. Unfortunately, her 4th round, pretty errant shot, took her to the sidelines, but that one ball format, any round, anyone has a chance to win and advance, and anyone has a chance to be eliminated on that one shot. So, of course, we will not see our Duke winner from last year, Tom Doherty, in Portland, as Tom did not bowl the 6-game qualifier this year. Sometimes schedules don't just match up for PBA Tour players, and unfortunately Tom unable to make it back to defend his title this year. Another title looks pretty safe right now. Going to put it down in pencil. Not going to put it in ink yet to write Liz Johnson's ticket in the Women's Classic division, but looking at our couple of competitors, they would probably need lifetime high series in order to get there to that 15-12 that Liz shot. So we'll see Liz Johnson for the 2nd year in a row as Women's Classic champion. She'll be going to Bayside Bowl. Still can't officially tell if Gianna Brandolino will be there as the 2nd place finisher in Women's Classic, but it's looking relatively good at this point. And I need to check on our boys handicap division participant today and see if he still has a reasonable chance to catch up to our leader in that boys handicap division, Garrett Beyer. Beyer at 1461. And that lone competitor is on our coverage right now with Zach Shanding. And Shanding, unfortunately, under the 200 par average for his first three at 579. So Garrett Beyer, looks like you're making your way to Bayside Bowl pending average verification. So Hicklin in the girls handicap, Beyer in the boys junior handicap. And Liz Johnson and Jana Brandolino, those unofficially look like four pretty solid advancers. And with every game, it's looking more and more like Mark Blaha and Boog Kroll are going to be our two top finishers in the Open Classic division. Of course, that big check for Mark Blaha, $25,000 on top in that Open Classic division. Still going to be a nice chunk of change to Boog Kroll as well for finishing in second. I mean, look at the top 10 right now in the Open Classic division. You got Mark Blaha, David Kroll, Bailey Maverick, great regional player. He's bowled many PTQs on the PBA Tour. Maverick third, Derek Off. Off is just, I mean, he's won an AMF World Cup, an international competition. He's won medals for the USA. Spectacular amateur player. Boy, if he turns 50, or when he turns 50, and if he goes on the PBA 50 Tour, he could be one of those stories like John Janowitz has been over the last couple of seasons. Riley Smith, great college player, in the fifth. Landon Jordan, you talk about a great young man. Almost took down a PBA regional a couple of seasons ago. Jordan in sixth. Tim Pfeffer in seventh. Derek Norman Jr. eighth. Todd Signetti ninth. Alex Acosta, another great young player, 10th. So 100 pins between first and 10th. So a little space there. Somebody could still fit into a top 10 spot off the squad, but it's going to take a pretty big finish for someone to do so. Keep those questions rolling for Stu. We'll get him back in a few minutes as he's talking to players as he's walking up and down the concourse. You know, it's the coolest part about this PBA LBC National Championships. You could see who was coming in from the PBA Tour week in and week out, know you'd have your chance to bowl in the same squad with them, and might be lucky enough, like some of these players are today, with BJ Moore and Chris Vi, having the chance to bowl with them or right next door to them. Can't get that experience at many other bowling tournaments, especially with that much money on the line. And knowing that those PBA Tour pros are pretty much bowling in their own division. Next year, Boog Kroll's not going to be able to finish second in the Open Classic division because he's going to be in the PBA Exempt Tour division. So it's a wonderful, wonderful event. If you didn't bowl it this year, look at bowling into it next year. Take a look here, Chris Vi. We're going to, BJ Moore not having a good day. BJ Moore started game 4 here, open. So once again, as I said, this pattern, sure, it's easier. It's easier in the PBA Tour patterns that these players see week in, week out, but still tough. Still tough. You make mistakes, you're going to pay for them. And, yeah. And Stu Williams joining us back in the booth. And, yeah, I hate flipping over to BJ Moore right now, but not a good start to Game 4. I think BJ is looking to check into his flight ASAP.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad because I told him into bowling brackets, and I was about to tell him that there's only about 8 people in the building who were beating him after 3 games, so he was probably doing okay. And then I looked up, and I was glad I hadn't said anything because I didn't see his score till he's going to be 30 in the 4th. Yeah, I don't know there's much to say about that, really.
No.
Vi isn't really. There isn't really much going on in this squad, if I'm being honest.
Right.
Like, I don't think any of the scores are changing. I think 7-0 is like the highest handicap score in the squad.
Yeah, and that's going to need work on the men's and women's division. The boys division, there was one player who was minus 21 after 3 in boys handicap, so that one's definitely not going to change, barring a miracle finish, and that player was not on their way here in Game 4. We stuck with him for a few frames.
Yeah. Should we switch over to Vi?
Yeah, let's go. Bang. Well, single pin miss and spare strike for Vi through 3.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a great question for you, Stu, because a lot of people just got done with Bowl Expo, a lot of proprietors out there, a lot of pro shop owners finding out from the new bowling. Also, questions have been asked. The 3-ball typical house shot arsenal for the upcoming fall league season that you've seen from the stuff coming out of Utah.
I mean, it depends where you bowl because obviously not every house shot's the same. If we're not going to have a spare ball, so it's effectively a 4-ball arsenal, I think that from what I've seen anyway, I think this cell looks like it's the best of the slightly stronger balls. It's not as strong as the very strong balls, but I think most people don't need a super strong ball for a house shot. So I kind of like the cell. I like the Ion Pro of the new balls. I think that's a decent step down from that. And then DNA coil, it could be interchangeable with either of those balls, depending on how much friction you have. Oh, BJ's on the board with a Brooklyn.
He looks pained right now. I mean, not physically pained, obviously. Doesn't seem to be anything physically around him, but yeah, the head game is gone.
Yeah. So, and then the other ball that I've seen people doing quite well with is the Lightning Blackout. So, they would be the ones that I had seen. So, Cell, Ion Pro, Lightning Blackout, and then you could mix in a DNA coil as opposed to the Cell or the Ion Pro, depending on your style and whether you want to see a bit more hook down the lane.
Yep. Somebody in the comments saying it was humid. They bowled opening weekend of this event. It was humid and the approaches were a little tacky. What is some things you do, Stu, when you bowl in a center when it's a little humid and the synthetic approaches seem to get a little Velcro-y on occasion?
Well, for me, I have the new 3G Racer shoes. So I just changed sole. Like, I bowled yesterday, and I saw a few people having issues. I didn't have any issues. I changed to the number 10 sole, and it was pretty easy. I've seen a few people Vi's stuck a couple of times today, but for me, I didn't really have too many issues. Like, in general, I think having a pair of shoes with interchangeable soles and a few different combinations, and we actually have a video on our channel on Beef and Barnsey YouTube channel. Chris breaks down his process of cutting soles in half and being able to change in between kind of thing, and like some of the things he does with heels.
Yeah.
So check that out. That might give you some more like options.
Does 3G still have? I haven't bowled competitively in a few years. I used to have a pair of 3G shoes that had the heel with the little strip of leather in the front. You could interchange. Is that still still available? Okay, I love that when I.
Dexter also make that.
Okay.
Storm. Dexter call it a leading edge.
Okay.
There's a couple of different versions.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure 3G also has one.
Yeah, I had. I know when I'd hit humid approaches during the summer, it was a great thing to change to from just the rubber sole to having that little bit of leather on the front part of the heel, and night and day difference from being able to not slide to just having a consistent slide. So they said they were using the S12 and they still couldn't slide.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Did they change the heel?
Yeah, that's one thing, because I think people forget that sometimes, is how much when your weight transfers back in the slide, that as soon as that heel catches, it's going to get you.
Yeah, and like you're saying about that leading edge, that can be a good option.
Yeah. So a couple of people made comments about we were talking about being able to, what's going on at the USBC Open Championships, where people could go early and watch if they wanted to. Sure, if you want to make a 3-day trip to Vegas and go watch some bowling and have a few cocktails and then come back a month or two later.
Like, for example, like the Masters was in Vegas, so a few people got to do it that way.
Yeah.
And then you see the videos online also.
What did you think of Suncoast? I was there quite a few times back in the Extra Frame days with the U.S. Senior Open. Seems we always had a pretty good time at that center. I mean, it's kind of laid out like they built the Suncoast and what was called South Coast back then at the same time, so basically it has kind of the same layout. Both places.
I mean the place was fine. The lanes were just it wasn't ideal.
A lot of lineage, as a lot of Vegas centers.
Well, there was just a lot of bouncing.
Okay.
The lanes. There was a few. I started on lane 3 and 4, and I thought on lane 3 the ball bounced up and almost hit me. I almost could catch it. So, I mean, I am exaggerating, but I had a lot of problems on lane 3. But overall, like I say, it was kind of nice to be, kind of a little bit out of the strip area. Being all the way out there. But yeah, in Somerville. So.
Do we take some Schadenfreude and go back to BJ Moore here? Okay, we will. Yikes. And well, he got to the pocket, but 4-pinned. It's not too often you see 63 in the 6th for a player of Mr. Moore's caliber.
Yeah, I don't think we're having too much fun now.
No, he's just talking to his lane mates and trying to get out of the way. Ooh.
Oh God, he missed it. Oh boy, I think he wants the world to eat him.
Yeah. We'll stay away from. We'll respect the wishes of one BJ Moore, and you can always watch him on the other YouTube channel with the ambient audio if you like. So what's the game plan before 2025 for you on tour? I mean, like you said, it's a few months before things really are going to kick off. Do you know early, when the schedule's going to kick off? I know they got to wait for Fox and everything before they get dates set. And
I feel like you're trolling me here, Phil.
Well, no, I'm just I'm not trying to.
I'm just saying,
trying to troll. It is kind of a trolly question now that I think about it. Yeah.
This is the biggest bugbear, I guess, of every professional, that we have no idea what the season is, no idea how many tournaments we're going to have.
Yeah.
I'll leave that one alone because I don't want to get myself in trouble with Mr. Clark.
Yeah. No, I didn't. Yeah. I realize now it was kind of a question that probably shouldn't have been asked, but it's just. But a lot of the fans, they with the Fox and FS1 coverage the last few years, it's been spectacular. One thing that bowling fans unfortunately have to wait for is that there's other sports that may have a little more priority for Fox to get those scheduled, and then they get the PBA factored in there. But when you're getting your majors on over-the-air network TV, considering 15 years ago we were lucky to get anything on network TV. I mean, there were so many years that there wasn't any bowling on ABC or NBC or Fox or CBS.
Like I say, the whole Fox deal's been a success. Like I say, I wish it translated into more main events for us to bowl.
Yeah.
But the majors being on Fox is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, the number of it's last week again. They had some FS1 shows from earlier in the year that were playing on a weeknight on FS2. So, I mean, if people weren't watching them, they wouldn't replay them. They'd throw
100%.
something else on there.
Yeah, like I say, it's been a good partnership for us and Fox, for sure.
Yeah. Did you watch any of the T20 World Cup
I
for
did.
cricket?
Yeah.
I've been, during the pandemic, I started watching a little bit of it, and I don't have a very good knowledge of it, but somebody said that the upset of Pakistan by the U.S. was kind of not world-changing, but definitely kind of put the U.S. on the map a little bit more for cricket. Is that true? Or
I mean, it's the shortest form of the game, so I mean, it was kind of a big deal because because of that, the U.S. qualify for the next 2020 World Cup. Like, they don't have to go through any qualifiers, so they're in the main draw. So that was kind of good for the USA. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty big shock for sure. It kind of had follow-on effects in the rest of the groups because it kind of changed a few things around. Yeah. Nepal almost beat South Africa as well.
Okay.
South Africa actually had on one of those win predictors, they had a 0.1% chance of winning and won. Like Nepal, totally choked it off at the end. But yeah, it was fun. Like, Major League Cricket's over here. Cricket's like a franchise-based thing now. So a lot of the Indian teams own their teams in all of the leagues. So they own a team here. Yeah. So they'll be like there's the KKR, which is Kolkata Knight Riders. Right. But there'll be KKR New York or something. Okay. Because that franchise owns the New York
franchise here. Yeah. Okay.
So then a few of their players will play. So that's kind of how it's been. So, but that's been going on now. The thing that made me sad was how incredibly expensive it was to go to it, and there was no reason. America is just really expensive for sports stuff. The tickets were to watch games that weren't really that appealing. The tickets were just insanely stupid.
Well, they had a stadium in Dallas area, didn't they?
Yeah, but the prices for the games were just because I was going to go up and watch one, but I don't really have that much interest in going to watch Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh or something. But we'd have gone because it'd have been cool. But I mean, the tickets were $130, $140. It's just it's just that's not really I don't know that did anything to further the sport. Yeah. But once Ticketmaster gets involved and all of the fees and me and Tina went to the national semi-final. We went to the Sugar Bowl last year to watch Texas. Okay. And the fees were almost the equivalent of us buying 3 tickets. It just gets a little bit unnecessary.
Here's the processing fee and the processing of the processing fee
it's just and then tax on tax on tax. Yeah, it's just silly. So Vi has a chance here to shoot 258.
Steps it out.
The rest pretty good. All right, so that'll get Chris to 950. So we'd need 580 the last two.
I think this person's going to be very surprised by this question. When you win a tournament or do well, what is your drink of choice to celebrate?
I don't drink. Yep. So I can be an asshole sober or drunk. I don't need alcohol. So if I had as much fun as Dom does when Dom drinks, then I'd probably do it, but I just don't. So
when Dom won in 2017, when he won the DHC Japan Invitational and then forgot his trophy. And so Jeff Goodger and myself, we grabbed it from Tokyo Port Bowl, and he was celebrating with some expats at a little hole-in-the-wall pub about 1.5 miles away in Tokyo. It was a British expat that owned it. And watching Dom parade through the streets of Tokyo at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night with his trophy on his shoulder was a beautiful thing. It's one of those moments you never forget.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. BJ firing back with the 5-bagger here to get to 160. He's got a triple.
All right, we'll get over to him. Vide's going to finish out
258
with the last 9.
255. That actually did make a bit of a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably won't in the end, but now he needs more than 580.
Yeah, there's still a check out there for him if he does well enough. Oh, I think it's the hardest I've ever seen BJ hit up on a bowling ball.
Yeah, 162. So, have we got any more questions, Phil?
Let's see here. How was your home serve commercial? Because you aren't a bowler? I don't know what that means. I haven't been in a home serve commercial, so. Oh, now I'm being told I'm a hybrid fake. Someone, you're a commercial character actor. Are we getting like Bayside accusations here from somebody? Chat's getting a little weird again. So, what else do we got here? We got the Arsenal. They're still arguing about going to a tournament and seeing the pattern. So, favorite center to bowl a tournament in? They're not asking tour. Let's go tour and when you're at home.
I mean, the lanes at Coffee Creek were pretty nice to me the last time I went there. I don't know. I liked it when we used to bowl at Wayne Webb's place. Wayne Webb's bowl was hey. So yeah, Wayne Webb's bowl was pretty cool. I like bowling there. Dave Small centers have been okay to me also. Kokomo was an interesting place as a city. But you know, the fans came out. That was nice. And then Anderson this year, bowled pretty good there. So I don't know, to be honest. It used to always be the South Point Bowling Center. I don't have quite as much. South Point Plaza has been okay to me, but not quite as great as the South Point Bowling Center. And then everywhere in the world, I mean, there's a few places I like. I like bowling in San Marino. That's pretty cool. The tournament's actually just finishing today in San Marino, so that was a kind of cool place. Barcelona was always a fun place to go. I actually won my first overseas tournament ever there, so that was kind of cool.
Wasn't it just happening like a week or so ago too? So there was a tournament. I saw Sam Cooley post.
It's finishing today.
Oh, it's the Barcelona. Okay, the Barcelona.
No,
I thought you
San
meant
Marino.
San Marino. Okay.
San Marino's just finishing today.
Yeah. Barcelona was pretty recent though too. I thought.
No, there's no tournament in Barcelona.
Oh, there is no anymore. Okay. No,
there was one in Madrid.
Okay, there we go. I know I saw Sam Cooley post that he was bowling some overseas stuff during the.
So yeah, there's I enjoyed that. I haven't really had much success there, but the bowling center's cool as in Munich.
Okay.
The bowling center in Munich's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of places I've bowled over time that I've really kind of like. They're having the Lucky Larson event in Helsingborg again.
Okay.
That's a super cool place to go visit.
Yeah. Are you going this year? Or?
I'm not. No.
Okay.
It didn't work out because it's the same time as one of the biggest tournaments in Texas.
Okay.
And it's hard to get on a plane to bowl for 15,000 when I can drive to bowl for 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a little difficult. So.
Oh, here's a good question in the chat asking about Patrick Allen. What's going on with PA? Any idea?
I think he's still doing pro shop stuff. He actually messaged me the other day, first time in forever. But yeah, I haven't really chatted with him too much. But yeah,
he's got to be close to 50.
Oh, he's over 50.
He is over 50 now. Okay.
But his knee's so screwed up that he just doesn't bowl anymore. I don't think.
Okay.
He just had a bad deal with his knee, and he never really got it fixed properly. And then, now it's like he'll bowl like 3 games, and his knee's like screaming.
Okay.
So
that sucks. So.
And like PA is one of those guys who really, to be good, he really wants to practice a lot, and if he can't practice a lot, just doesn't.
Yeah. I still remember running a few years ago at a regional about 30 miles from here, and like, what are you doing? First question, I was like, okay, you're bowling a Midwest regional, all right, good to see you. And then he was bowling 4 steps at the time too, and I looked at him, I go, why are you bowling after practice session? What'd you change the 4 steps to? Because I suck, Mop. Short, sweet, and simple. Because I suck, and he ended up making the step ladder that weekend. Yeah. For sucking, that man was he was always fun to watch bowl. Always fun. I always like watching PA out there. Rotogrip Duo Bowling Ball. What's the opinion?
it wasn't one of my favorites, but like Chris used it a decent bit as like a cleaner control ball. So he liked it on like kind of shorter patterns. So yeah, that worked out okay for him.
Yep.
But like for me, wasn't one of my favorites.
Somebody mentioned this PA at the USBC Masters in 2004 at Miller Park. You ever get to bowl in a big arena setting like that somewhere in the world, or no?
No.
Okay.
But that was very cool.
Yeah.
PA actually threw out the first shot of both shows at Miller Park because he made both times they did it there, and he was fifth. He was like the fifth seed both times, so he threw out the first shot both times. Yeah. That was very cool. Rash obviously won the Masters there. Was it Jaros who won the other one?
Wiseman, Danny Wiseman in 04.
Yeah, Jaros lost to Rash, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Steve bowled yesterday. He was here giving it a shot. Always good to see the newest Hall of Famer. And guy hits as many PBA regional events and an occasional PBA 50 Tour event between having, the real job, which is one of the great things about the regional tour. There's guys out there with families and that type of thing that want to stay competitive, know they can't put in all the time to be tour competitive and the expenses and stuff, but they can drive 3-4 hours near them, and there'll be guys like Stu or a guy like a Steve Jarros for the PBA 50 guys, and you get your chance to shoot up against the best and see where you stand. So that's always one of the best parts about the regional tour, or find out that you can get a card and you should never gotten a card. I'm not going to mention who in the booth did that 2 decades ago, but wasn't the red leader, but definitely found out that 205 on a sport shot isn't the be all end all.
Quick update here: BJ Moore's 808, AJ Johnson's 1247.
Okay, where did BJ move up to here?
He's right in front of us, 7 and 8.
Oh, 7 and 8. All right, let's.
So. I'm actually quite surprised. Like I say, BJ just hasn't been bowling because, BJ usually bowls. Like, I honestly can't remember watching BJ bowl bad. Like, he nearly always bowls well every tournament. It's so frustrating that he almost bowls part-time and he's still better than almost everybody.
Well, Boog's still sweating, asking, any big scores today? Nope.
No, you're good.
No, I'd start looking for the airfares to Portland and find an Airbnb or something, or find some friends to stay with.
I had to defend Boog. I had to explain to a guy why Boog was allowed to bowl in the Open division yesterday.
Yeah. So, hey, you still got to throw the ball and throw it well, and he's been doing that all year. And watching him in past years and watching him this year, doesn't seem to be any magic thing that snapped or popped or whatever. It just kept working to get better, and he got better and got to read lanes better.
I just think that it's a little bit one of those. Bowling is very much a confidence thing, and once you have success, it builds confidence, and you can shrug off the bad things happening to you much easier. And then and bowling, it's the opposite. If you have a bunch of bad results, little things frustrate you and make it super difficult for you super quickly, and it's just like I say, Bug's just been on a good roll, and obviously when you're higher up in the events, you start to get the ball reps start to help you more because their job's to get balls on TV, and if you're in that spot, you're gonna get on TV, so they want to help you, and you get more knowledge and understanding from that. So then when you go out into the real world and bowl other events, well, you've got that knowledge bank that you've already built up. So, it's just, like I say, I think Bug's always been a good bowler. I just think that now he's a good bowler who's super confident. Yeah. And that's a great combination. You get a bit of confidence, and suddenly you can do a lot of things.
I wonder if he's sorry, Bug. I wonder if he's the shortest PBA Tour champion of all time. Steve Cook it's tied between Steve Cook and Charlie Tappett as the tallest, because they're both 6'7". I don't think there's
Charlie Tappett's that tall.
Yeah, Charlie's a tall drink of water. Yeah.
Oh, I think AJ's safe. So, yeah.
So
What's Viga doing?
let's take a peek over here. Is Vi on this pair? Nope. We gotta find him. There he is.
Strike.
I was gonna wait for the real kick to BJ Moore right there when he was hooking at the spare. I was going, don't go in between the 1-6. Don't go in between. So, Stu, what were the bowling balls you threw on this pattern yesterday? Someone's asking.
I threw a Ion Pro and a DNA coil.
It's a little unusual to just use 2 balls in a 6-game block on for you. Like in a PBA event, 8-game block, you usually go through 2 or 3, don't you?
It depends.
In a tour event?
Like I say, it super depends.
Okay.
But yes. Oh my God. Oh, we didn't have that on live.
Oh.
Holy shnikes.
Hold on. Let me do a little magic here in a second.
Did you just see that messenger?
No, but we're gonna get it up here.
Lane
we're
7.
we're gonna find this one. Give me a second. I can use the wonderful part about this is contraption is I can use this as replay. Let's make this happen. All right, lane 7. Let's get back here.
Yeah, sorry to the people watching.
Yeah, we need to see this here.
I just saw a monster messenger right in front of me, and I didn't realize it wasn't on the.
Oh, we'll work some magic here. Don't you worry. It was on 7. It was on BJ Moore's pair. I think we have it here.
7.
Oh my! Yeah, hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, Stu was not kidding. So give me a second here. Pardon, it's from the YouTube feed, so we're going to get in. You're going to see it on lane 7 coming in.
Yeah, here it is.
Watch this head pin. Oh. Once again, for those of you that missed it, watch again.
Oh my God, he did it again.
Just now?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't quite as big, but like you said, he messed it out the 7-10. Yeah, wow.
One more time. That's just insane. I have to cut that out. That's gonna be all. He just kind of kicks at it on the approach when it's done. Shit. That's beautiful. Okay, we're staying on that pair the rest of the way. I'm sorry. You deserve coverage if you can carry a messenger like that.
Kobe.
My goodness.
Kobe Franklin.
Kobe, you've just started your 15 minutes of bowling fame with that shot. Oh, my. The only one I've seen even close to that was Jesper back in the day at Fire Lake.
Yeah, he had one at Fire Lake that was pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, where it actually just stopped me cold in my tracks. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, we need to pull this.
Oh, dear. That was fun.
So. Follow-up question: the two you used yesterday. Surface was it out of the box surface on those balls, or what surface?
Yeah, like I touched the surface a little bit on the DNA coil. I added a little bit of surface to it. I actually like the Ion Pro with a little more surface than it comes with. I think it's a little bit too clean for me. So I hit that with like 1,000. The Ion Pro. I like it a little bit better with a little more surface, with it being a little lower diff. Like for me, with a bit more ball speed, I kind of like that one.
So someone's asking what the oil that they're using is. It's Kegel Fire Oil for this pattern. There's so many different oils nowadays made by both Kegel and Brunswick, and you players really have to stay on your toes on what the characteristics of the actual oil is outside of the pattern, don't you? A bit?
Yeah, you do, but you don't. Like,
okay.
I think that, like, I think the guys. No, we almost got another one. I think the guys who are like in my position in the hierarchy probably end up worrying about it more. I'm not sure EJ Tackett worries too much about what oil's on the lane. I think he just goes up and makes great shots and just beats us to death. So yeah, that's. I mean, I think between the biggest extremes in the oils, there's a really big difference. But like, how much that the regular person needs to worry about it, I don't know.
Hold on 1 second here. I was gonna try to get him to come over. We'll get him between games. I gotta ask him if that's the best messenger he's ever carried, because that was just. That's one of those ones where it's gonna get pulled out. Someone's already probably got it pulled out of the feed, and it's gonna go viral on the internet. So, wow. Somebody just put in the chat they once won $2,000 from hitting a headless strike. I've seen that in some bowling contests where they leave the head pin out and then you have to strike to.
Yeah, that's pretty hard
to get it. That's near impossible. And yeah, no flippy crossy messenger for PJ Moore. All right, Tanya, you're gonna have to put him on extra kitchen duty this week after this bowling performance. Yeah, you can see he's just trying to be cordial with his fellow players, but not having a good day. How do you empty the memory banks after something like that? For you personally?
Oh, I don't know. burn into your retinas, isn't it? Yeah. What are we gonna? What we got? We got a few frames left here.
Yeah.
So if you got any more questions, ask them. I don't think that any of the leaderboards are getting troubled. Should we just quickly have a look to see what Vi's doing this game?
Yeah, I think he's down there. We got him. No, we don't have him there. Not there either. Maybe he didn't make it down there yet. You're Chris Vi. I've lost Chris Vi. Or did I have him there?
He's a decent way down. He's not there. There he is.
There he is.
So he's not really doing anything. He's got 88 in the fourth. So best case scenario for Vi is he can be 12:05. So 15:05 is his max. So not enough. So that's all going to stay the same. I don't think anybody's making. And the scores don't seem like they're very good in this squad, just overall.
Yeah.
Because the total that's actually up on the board includes handicap.
Right. Yep.
And when I walked through, I didn't really see any scores that were on the higher side. So I think this squad is going to go off without any sort of drama.
Yeah, there's going to be a few checks given out, I'm sure. Some people will get some scores that'll get into that 1-in-8 cashing ratio, but they're not going to approach the top of the leaderboard. Oh, this is always a fun one to watch on TV too. Weber Cup. Will it come back?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think Matchroom have moved on. They're doing pool. They're all in on pool at the minute.
Yep.
For the kind of the shows that they were using for bowling, they've kind of replaced it with more pool events. So yeah, I don't think so. I think we're done.
Okay.
With that, unfortunately, because that was always an event that we enjoyed bowling.
I hope Tom Clark brings back USA versus the World. I hope the PBA does that, like they did at the World Series in 2023.
Yeah. I mean, that was Yeah, they did pretty well. Yeah, for sure.
Plus, I'm kind of partial to the opening match at Holler House, so that was a fun one to help be part of the production team on. And Holler House is always a great little hangout in Milwaukee if you're a bowler. Even if you're not a bowler, the history that's in that place. 2 300s the entire 100-plus year history of that. 2 lanes in the basement. And one of them was a couple of years ago, and the other one was in the 1930s.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You ever bowl at a place? You never had to bowl at a place that set pins by hand or anything like that, did you? When you were there, everything was automatics.
How old do you think I am?
Oh no, I just didn't know. Like some places.
I mean, I've had to do. I've had to write my own scores. But I mean, like, it's been a while since we've needed pin boys.
Well, I just didn't know if there was a unique center somewhere in the world that you managed to. Did you make it to Antarctica for a trip? And they used to have 2 lanes there that they had to set the pins by hand.
No.
Okay.
No, you'll be surprised to know I didn't.
So we know Stu's not in the Penguins, so we got that going. So somebody wished the PBA would come back to Stardust Bowl in Addison. That's a pretty big center, 84 lanes. So and we'll have to see next year. Now that Bolero is the new owners of Thunderbolt in Detroit, that may that be the home of.
Well, we're going to Thunderbolt for the Masters.
Oh, next year is okay. Didn't know that was announced already. Okay. So World Series of Bowling will most likely end up somewhere else.
You would hope so.
Yeah.
Having, 2 of the 5 majors in the same bowling center wouldn't be ideal.
No. So
I actually quite like the center in Milwaukee. I just like everything except like kind of like the machine part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The bowling center, like the layout is cool.
Yeah.
Having that extra like set bay of lanes that they can set the TV shows up is cool.
Yep.
Like I really didn't mind that part of it at all. There's a lot of hotels that it's pretty easy to get to.
Mm-hmm.
It just they just had a lot of problem with the machines.
Yeah.
During the tournament and stuff.
I bowled league in that center for 20 plus years and always enjoyed bowling league there.
Yeah.
And then, pandemic and other things and,
Well, it just gets older and, like, it's just a lot of upkeep.
Right.
Especially with a center that big.
I don't feel free to throw the plead the fifth or no comment out there. With entries as high as they are with the PBA for PTQs, now Tour Trials is a sellout. The main field's a sellout. So
there's actually a PTQ for the Tour Trials.
For the Tour Trials, yes, indeed. So has the PBA made any indication as why they don't travel the entire country and do 25 or 30 events a year? I think part of it's because of the Fox contract, obviously. They've tried doing...
I just think that the PBA in general puts a lot of money into each tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not entry-driven.
Yep.
Like the prize funds. So the PBA have got a lot of money invested into each tournament, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So having tournaments every single week, like they have to find hundreds of thousands of dollars every week.
Right.
So that makes it more difficult. Like the prize funds now are much higher than they were, when they were bowling back in the day.
Yeah.
So that part of it is like, that's the part of it where we need to try and expand, is to try and bring in more revenue from sponsors or whatever to try and be able to have more events. Like we have the ability to have Fox events. Like we've got Fox Sports we have all of these TV dates.
Right.
We fill them out with other events because the other events aren't necessarily as expensive as a regular tournament. So.
There we go.
Yeah.
We got somebody hit up the questions again. Favorite bowling alley to bowl at. We got that one a little earlier. If you missed it, is the oil pattern for this event too high scoring for an event like this? I don't think so. I think it's when you're getting bowlers of all, and that's one thing they're keeping in mind with designing the pattern for this tournament. You're going to have a Stu Williams, a Chris Via, BJ Moore here, but you're also going to have a 7-year-old kid that averages 75. And you're going to have a 70-year-old player with a 12-mile-an-hour ball speed that is bowling in the men's handicap or women's handicap division. They're kind of designing the pattern so it holds up for everybody, so nobody has to do something obscene at the end of 6 games, it seems like.
I personally think that people read too much into, like, high-scoring, low-scoring lane patterns.
Okay.
It's just the guy who bowls the best wins. Like, and like people can want to, like, why is it that the guy who wins the US Open gets more credit than the guy who wins the Players Championship? Like, you're beating the same guys.
Right.
Like, and the idea of bowling is to knock over more pins than the other person. And in some events, that's low scoring. In some events, that's high scoring.
Yeah.
it's just Graham Fart averaged 10% more than the next guy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Right.
Like, that's really cool for him. Like, but no matter what, like, it's just that's really difficult to do. So it was a great achievement, but it wouldn't be any more of an achievement in my eyes if he had 1,400 and the next guy had 1,300 or whatever.
Right.
Like, why would that be better?
Yeah.
Like, so I just think that over time, too much has been read into it. You know, like it's just a different skill set to be able to bowl well when they're easy to when they're difficult. But it when you're bowling against other professional bowlers, it's no more like impressive or not in my mind.
Okay.
Like, it's just, yeah, it's frustrating. Like, what's frustrating is when one side of the lane is significantly easier than the other side of the lane. Not necessarily when, you know, other lefties have bowled. They haven't bowled anywhere near what Graham bowled.
Not even close.
So it's like, was it better on the left than the right? Probably, because when the lanes are really easy, they usually are better on the left than the right because they're usually easier at the start.
Yeah.
And the start lasts longer on the left than it does on the right.
Right.
I mean, that's just, when they're really difficult, they're usually better for the right-handers because you need them to break down to get easier.
Yeah. I remember Parker Bowen telling me one time, as a lefty, a lot of lefties, they're 15 pins better than they should be on house conditions and 15 pins worse than they should be on sport conditions because of how the lanes play with lesser play.
100%.
Yeah.
So it kind of is what it is.
Yeah. So will the PBA go back overseas?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Storm Lucky Larson.
Yeah. I don't think there'll be a World Bowling Tour partnership coming anytime soon. I was a little hopeful that this whole World Bowling League thing would kind of take off more than past an announcement. I mean, I was lucky enough to be on the call during the IBF World Championships last year from Qatar, and with Andrew Frawley, who's a great player from Australia, was the color commentator. And there was some great action. Korea and the team event. My goodness, Korea and Canada. I mean, Frankie Lavoie, Mitch Hupe, and the every Korean player, God, that roster doesn't matter, one-hander, two-hander, 600 rev rates with these guys.
Yeah.
It was insane. And the match came down, and Canada pulled it out. It was fun to watch, and it'd be great to get something like that going more and more. But after that initial announcement, and then getting involved with the IBF World Championships, there's been silence on the World Bowling League front.
Well, the World Bowling League's nothing to do with the IBF.
Right. It's just
it's totally separate.
They were going to do media for IBF, but then that kind of went to the wayside.
But like I'm saying, the World Bowling League is a totally separate entity. Yeah. To be honest, a lot of the negativity I think came towards that because it was announced during the IBF stuff.
Yeah,
they were in a bad spot. So anyway, should we take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break. We got one more game left here. We got player movement. You got a lot of lanes moving at the same time. So we'll be back with Stu for our final game of this 2024 edition of the PBA LBC National Championships from Bolero Mount Prospect. And now the end is near, and we have reached the final curtain. All right, I'm not Frank Sinatra or Elvis, but this is it. This is the last game of PBA League Bowler Certification National Championships competition here in 2024. I'm $2 Phil Bryla. Thanks for everybody that's joined us during the last 7 weekends of this event. As it's looking on this squad, there's a few scores that could realistically get to the pay window with a decent last game, but there is no change to the tops of our leaderboards. Not going to happen. So unofficially, and this is once again all of our handicap divisions, our pending average verification. On our girls handicap division, Chloe Hickland is going to be advancing to Bayside Bowl in Portland, Maine for the PBA LBC National Championships clash in the girls handicap division. In the boys handicap division, Garrett Byer is your advancer. In the women's handicap division, Kaylin Ranson will be making the trip to Bayside. In our men's handicap division, Bobby Kunimura will be taking the trip to Portland, Maine. In our senior classic division, Billy Froberg, great PBA regional host out of St. Joseph, Michigan. Froberg will be advancing as our senior classic division champion. Lenny Borsch Jr. unofficially, our oldest, I shouldn't say oldest, our player 60 years of age or older with the highest total in the senior classic division for those 60 and older. Lenny Borsch Jr. will be making his second consecutive appearance at Bayside Bowl. In our women's classic division, Liz Johnson and Gianna Brandolino take down the first and second spots respectively to make their way into the clash at Bayside. In our open classic division, Mark Blaha. I'll have a beer when I see you in Portland. Probably an Allagash White. We'll have one, toasting your victory unofficially here. There's no average verification, but there's just nobody close to you, and we haven't thrown the last ball yet, but that 15-23 total for Blaha is going to hold on to the number one spot in the Open Classic division. David Book-Kroll holds on to second with the score he shot yesterday morning with a 15-05. And in our PBA exempt division, teammates on the Portland Lumberjacks, they're going to have a loud and proud following during that clash taping. Graham Fa at 16:34. Chris Prather, 15:29. Your final clash combatants. 12 players will take to the lanes. Only one will survive with the Duke and $60,000. That's the coolest part. The Duke gets awarded and the $60,000 check that goes with the statuette of Norm. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Actually, it's a statue of Norm. The statuettes are the mini Dukes that go out to the players that threw 300. During these LBC National Championships. And congratulations to those players that did hit that achievement. Most recently done yesterday by Nick Pate during the 9 a.m. squad. And people that have won these 300 awards with the Mini Dukes, ask every one of them. It's the best award they've ever received for a 300 game. Sure, you can get certificates or rings or whatever, but to be awarded a Mini Duke statuette for your achievement, have it presented to you either here at the LBC National Championships, or I know Tom Clark and some other PBA members presented Mini Dukes to some players during their league season last year. The smile on the faces of those players when they received that Mini Duke statuette for their perfect games here at the LBC National Championships, it's pretty awesome to see. I think I don't think we're gonna get Stu back in the booth. I think he's I see he's talking to some fans. You know, he's talking to some fans up there. And hey, I mean, the Beef and Barnsey show. I've seen T-shirts all weekend. Several T-shirts. Oh, Stu actually autographed one a little earlier for the Beef and Barnsey show for a fan. So once again, keep your eye out for making those reservations for the 2025 PBA LBC National Championships. The announcement of the host center and the dates of competition. Last year they made them during the LBC Clash, so I would be guessing that would be the case once again. So when that airs September 24th, that's when they'll have everything ready for next year, along with the opportunity to enter if you're an LBC member or if you bowled this event in 2024. And that's another neat part of the event too. You bowl it 1 year, you get first shot next year at the dates you're looking for. So let's say you want to bowl the last weekend of the event every year, you're going to be able to have that ability and have first shot of squad times that are available. Another neat part about this event is that even though it's a singles event, for the main part of the competition, you have the doubles and team side events as well. Your first 3 games count for doubles, your second 3 games count for team, and you can bowl with anybody that hasn't bowled in the tournament yet. So if you have a friend of yours that's bowling 3 weeks after you do, hey, you do the sign up for you and your friend as doubles team, and then you bowl, they bowl, and then we put your doubles score together. So last year our winning team in the 4-player team event bowled over 3 different weekends. No 2 guys bowled at the same time. But yet they were our team champions. So it's a pretty cool event as well. And then, of course, you can bowl with your friends on your pair. If you have about 4 or 6 or 8 of you that want to come down and bowl on the same squad, you can make the request to try to bowl on the same pair or on adjacent pairs. So that's another great feature as well. Chicago Bears fan, there were a lot of regional pros or pros that weren't on the exempt status on the PBA Tour, such as Bug Kroll that bowled this event. There were over 30 of the exempt players that made their way here. Throughout the 7-week run. So people have had all kinds of opportunities to bowl with these tour pros. And back in the booth, we do get Stu Williams back in the booth for the last few frames to wrap this up. I did stop my singing of My Way to
no, thank you.
That man's been trying to pawn off treats on everybody on the squad. I like friendly people.
Yeah,
but my waistline doesn't like friendly people. But I like them.
I don't need any help abusing my body to get more and more weight. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, Phil. This hasn't been a very entertaining squad, has it?
Oh, you've been quite entertaining. I think the fans have really appreciated having you to talk to while we've been watching some of the pros, and of course, some of the bowlers that just come here for every tournament. I mean, how cool is that messenger by Kobe a little while ago? I mean, we went back, we did the replay on it, we saw it over and over again, and he said that was the coolest messenger he's ever thrown in his life.
Well, it's about to be famous, so.
Yeah, we're going to make that famous. So, Kobe Franklin, you are now the man.
How's Vi getting on? What's he doing this game?
Let's see here.
He must be down by lane 30 or something like that.
Yep, there he is.
Front four. Update, AJ Johnson survived being last. BJ Moore can't catch him now. So, yeah.
I have the best production assistant in the business, especially after that right there. It's a beautiful thing. So, yeah. Yeah, we have to have a temporary setup for our cameras here at Below Mount Prospect because we have to get them out of the way. Once we're done with each tournament squad or each tournament day, we take everything out and open up to the center. Actually, no, it's all strung from the ceiling.
No, I'm saying
you
would use
I would use a lot of gaff tape
if you would,
right?
Because you would gaff the tables down, wouldn't you, so people couldn't kick them? I
was thinking about getting like bricks and straps actually, so they wouldn't move that much.
Yeah, when we do the swim meets, we have like buckets of water attached to the tents, so they don't blow away. Because of course, when you're at a swimming pool, you've got like basically unlimited water.
Yeah.
So it's kind of dumb to bring sand because you just dip the bucket in, and
there you go.
You set.
I could take some old bowling balls and screw hooks into them, screw eye hooks into them, and chain them. Just leave them down there too. We did that to a couple of our friends one time. We took bowling balls and we made balls and chains for the bachelor parties. And we made it. They had to walk. And we made them keep them on too. You're getting 16 pounds there, my friend.
Oh boy.
All through your party. Enjoy. Well, it keeps them from running away when they're drunk. So. They can't get that. They can't get very far. They get and they tire out really quick. So safe travels, Stu.
Thank you. England are going to start in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Come on, England, bring it home.
There you go.
One time.
And who's the opponent again? Spain. Yeah, that's right.
So. Well, thanks, Phil. It's been fun.
Oh, always.
I wish we'd have had more to commentate on, but it hasn't really worked out that well. So. Anyway, thanks for everybody who tuned in. Thanks for Bolero for putting on the event again. I think it's hopefully it'll continue to grow. Rome wasn't built in a day, starting out a big tournament like this, but I really do think that people who haven't come and bowled this event really should check out the prize fund. I mean, there is a lot of added money.
Yeah.
Like the winner of this event, like before you get to Portland, Maine, $25,000. The most you can win in nationals this year is $9,000. That's the highest first prize. So almost 3 times as much money. So yeah, I think that part of it, I think that Bolero actually did a bad job at patting themselves on the back as to how much money was available.
Yep.
The checks are significantly better than some of the ones at nationals. Patterns are a little easier. It's a bit more fun. It's a little less strict with the dress code and such.
And we saw somebody start their morning off with a pitcher of beer on their pair. So yeah.
Well, you can do that at nationals too. But,
That's true.
But still, it's like it's a bit of a fun event. You can come in, just bowl the one day. Get out of here. So
and get your chance to go to Bayside because that's another $100,000 that Bolero's putting up on their own outside of the prize fund for those players that make the clash.
Yeah.
So can't beat it.
All right.
Thanks, Stu.
All
Enjoy
right.
the game. Safe travels. There he is, Stu Williams. Always appreciate every professional's time when they come in the booth and talk to me and answer your questions. And we always follow the hot hands in the booth, that kind of thing. No, we didn't have many hot hands today. To follow, we followed Chris Via for a bit. We followed BJ Moore for a bit. We followed Kobe Franklin for a frame. That's the only frame we need to follow Kobe for. It's been a good event, and as Stu said, it's just bound to get bigger and better. So with that, we're going to finish our programming day with the beautiful sights and ambient sounds of Bolero Mount Prospect. For Stu Williams, for the entire LBC National Championships tournament staff, Zach, Janae, Renee, Trista, Mike, Neil, Clayton, Virginia, and her staff here at Bolero Mount Prospect, for the production assistance of Kerry Brylow and Rogue Foppy. I'm $2 Phil Brylow. Parents, take the kids bowling because they're going to have fun for life. after you take them that first time. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you in 2025.